Alright, another draft science video. Off the day. Flying scum. So context. Okay, so this argument began because there's a point was being made that gravitational lensing, the deflecting of light, requires light to be in a gravitational field that needs to have two things. It needs to be big enough, size-wise. The light has to be in the field long enough. And the gravity has to be sufficiently strong enough. The strength of gravity is based on the density of an object. If I made the sun the size of the Earth, you could fart your way into space because the sun is less dense. So if the Earth was made out of sun and it wasn't on fire, you would need almost no energy at all to escape. Inversely, if I made the Earth the size of the sun, the gravity on the surface of the sun-Earth thing would be so strong that no matter how much Teflon I put on a pancake flipper, I couldn't scrape you off the surface. You would be a flat, thin film on the surface. The gravity would be so strong because of the density of the matter versus its R. Yeah. And that's just fact. This is grammar school stuff. If I took an object like the Earth and threw it into some gravitational field and maintained its velocity, so I have an object of a certain velocity. If I threw it where Mercury is, it falls into the sun. If I threw it even where Venus is, it falls into the sun. Yeah. If I threw it where Pluto is, it goes forever. And that's the angle. There's a little irony, is that when the angle is more than 360 degrees, it starts over again. It looks like no angle at all. So when it plows right into the sun, because the angle is greater than, the angle of deflection is greater than 360 degrees, yeah, the angle will look like it's only 1 degree or 2 degrees. But that's, one of those things you realize in math and all that kind of stuff. That does that starting over thing. Yeah, that there's finites. Another thing I thought about black holes is, theoretically, if we're going to play this black hole game and that it can have gravity stronger, gravity strong enough to capture light, that it could also have orbits that could capture light. So you could actually have an orbit around the black hole where light just spins around in a circle forever. You could actually make a laser beam that way or something, right? You could just fill that orbit full of little photons orbiting the black hole. I don't think so. The catch with light also is that, yes, it has a maximum speed, so it sort of breaks the physics a little bit because unlike any other material body, it can't accelerate. So where all these other bodies accelerate as they crash, light can't do that. And I guess I would argue that light can't also decelerate. So you're not going to be able to capture it inside a black hole. But anyway, this is just changing the subject. So the subject was clearly, Piro's contention is you can do gravitational lensing in weak gravity as long as you go far enough out. And the point is the angle gets preposterously non-existent. There's no angle of deflection or diffraction at those distances. So if you're going to be in a gravitational field that's large, the gravity still has to have a minimum strength. And if it doesn't have that strength, it's not going to deflect the moving object, the light, sufficient for you to see the diffraction. And this ratio is just visible here. I mean, it's a real ratio, you idiots. And so, again, the argument is that when there's a galaxy of objects, none of which weigh more than the Earth or have a mass, a density, any substantially greater than the Earth, they likely have densities much weaker than the Earth, and they're spread out. And you're going to argue you have a gravitational lens. You have a gravitational lens that would be that that's much, 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 much weaker than what is required to diffract light. And you can't have a lens there. The only way you could have a lens there is that you have to have mass in here of sufficient density to create hard gravity. And it's not there. It's quite obviously not there. That's why they invented dark matter. So anyway, the simple thing for you to say, Hoffladay, instead of saying Gary was wrong about something which he wasn't, was to say Piro is obviously crazy. He doesn't understand grammar school physics. That there's a real limitation. You can't just go anywhere and say that object's bending light the same amount over here. It's not. It's factually not. Yes, even though the light is in the field longer, it doesn't matter because the gravity is much, much weaker. That was the point. And so instead of making a video educating Piro, you make these obnoxious videos trying to do some I got you thing because you can't divide 8 by 2. Fuckhead.
Okay. I'll make a final try on this.
Yeah, try to do what? Try to tell me this isn't a fact? That something with a consistent velocity is going to do pretty much, I mean, I didn't draw all the lines, but this will be the actual fact. There's a straight line out here, fucker. Okay? There's these angles are really important. You have to have them. You can't detect the diffraction if it's not sufficient. It doesn't matter how fucking far you're, well, I can't say it doesn't matter. I mean, yes, you can go an infinite distance and then you can have an infinitely small angle. But that's not part of our real universe, jackass.
Issue of density and gravity. Imendum said you didn't watch the second part of my video.
Yeah, I said, yeah, I didn't get to it because I went through the first half of your obnoxious shit. That's right. And I said, well, okay, there, it's enough for a video because this obnoxious asshole is going to nitpick about this stupid fucking goddamn number I threw out about volume. The fact that it matters how big the balloon blows up. I used the balloon argument, for fuck's sake, because it illustrates the 4 times thing. If I put my hand on a balloon, okay, and I expand the balloon, you'll see that dimensionally, distance-wise, my hand gets 4 times bigger on the surface, and I only increased the, I only did the r squared thing, jackass. But it doesn't. But I'm just talking about the volume. It's the same mass. You've doubled the mass because you doubled the diameter, and the volume is now 8 times the size that double mass is essentially floating in. So it doesn't have the same weight because it has to go all these different places inside that mass. Because now there's more room inside the shape, you shithead. I mean, it's a metaphor for the inverse square rule, which you fuckers just keep ignoring. Piro just kept, you're just used to it in your own fucking math. That somehow force equals mass. And let's just forget about that distance thing. Fuck you.
So I'll try to make this a brief video on specifically the density issue. Imendum, I just 3/4 way through this video.
Oh, so you're not going to watch the rest of the video? Blah, 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 blah. Fucking A. Jesus Christ. I mean, hypocrite much. Your gripe I didn't watch the second half of your fucking crap video so I can make another video about what a fucking shithead you are. There's no doubt you're going to say some other fucking stupid shit instead of saying what you should say, which is Piro is fucking wrong. Asshole. I mean, does Vic Mackey, hey Vic, are you out there somewhere? Do you endorse this stupid retarded argument that it doesn't matter how far away from the gravity you are, you still get the fucking lensing? You endorse that? Or do you endorse the fact that Einstein basically said you have to have this minimum? Yes, the sun might be able to lens light. Might be. With its 70 meters per second gravity, you might be able to get away with that. But that's sort of your minimum.
And he said one correct thing about.
Right. Well, I said a lot of correct things, so just lie some more, asshole. And you're not going to provide anything in this video, I'm sure, demonstrating anything incorrect I said, you fucking cunt. You slandering cunt.
Density, gravity, and black holes. You said the density of a black hole is what makes it special.
Let's understand, I did that. I did do that in a sarcastic way, essentially, because I'm basically saying there's no theoretical anything that makes any of this shit make any sense, because nobody's ever compressed matter. So until you give me some diagram of exactly how you do this million compression of an atom, and then you make sense out of any of this crap, this whole idea that light could be orbiting, I mean, fuck you. So I made that also clear. That if I'm going to concede the existence of these stupid objects, you're not even obeying the rules of your own stupid object. That's the point I'm making. You invent a stupid object and then you can't even consistently apply physics to its function.
How density plays a role in becomes a question, an issue when we talk about gravity.
It becomes a question of issue when we talk about gravity. It's only about as fundamental as you can get. I mean, gravity is a phenomenon of the thickness, of the material. You have to have material to create gravity. A flea, little gravity. You know, you got to have mass to make gravity.
Science, general relativity, Newton, and so on and so forth. The only thing is the special about a black hole is this issue about whether light can get away from it.
No, it isn't. So you say that's special. I don't think this is interesting at all. I think it's a stupid argument. I don't think you can bend light. I certainly don't think you can stop light. I don't think you can pull light backwards. I don't think any of this shit makes any sense at all. We know light doesn't go faster when it's going into, so when light's going into the black hole, it's not gaining any velocity. The gravity has absolutely no meaning. So aren't we breaking conservation laws? I mean, if you can pull light back, how can you, if you can pull it back and you can't push it forward, isn't that a conservation rule break? Haven't you just broken conservation then? Asshole.
The only thing special about it, it's not gravitationally special in any fundamental way.
Oh yeah, no, right. It's not fundamentally different in the sense that it will curve you into it so fucking fast. You'll be going so from this location, I release you, you end up going the speed of light by the time you get to the black hole. That's not significant. That it actually creates velocities in objects so fast that they are converted into light before they get to the black hole, the center of the black hole. They can't get to the center of gravity from any location, outside a circle. They can't get to the black hole without being converted into something moving the speed of light. Oh, that's not significant. Yeah, I think it is, Chad.
At the regular level, at least. I mean, people are...
Again, this is such a tangential subject. The subject was, can you have realistic, practically functional gravitational lensing in weak gravity? Can weak gravity bend light? And by weak, meaning insufficient ratio of time in the gravity versus the strength of the field. And as I pointed out pretty obviously in the diagram you ignored, this triangle sort of describes it right here. This distance here, this distance here. This distance is not 4 times, okay, this distance. And for it to have an equal effect, it has to be 4 times, because this is 1/4 of the strength. But anyway, let's continue.
Doing all this holographic theory and horizon, holographic horizon.
Right, a completely not relevant subject. Not even close. We're talking about gravitational lensing. Newsflash. You want to get back on that subject, jackass, and explain how Piro is somehow correct that a loosely configured arrangement of a few suns can somehow create this mega gravity sufficient to bend light enough to, number one, to create two foci, to actually create enough diffraction that the angle the light is leaving at on both sides gets bent almost 45 fucking degrees. I don't know, it's a huge angle. That somehow there's enough bending to do that? No, there isn't. It's idiotic, it's nonsense, it's fucking bullshit, and you fuckers just keep defending it with this fucking personal attacks against me, you stupid cunt.
And quantum information exchange and stuff at the horizon, and loads of esoteric stuff going on with black holes. But at the general relativity and classical physics level of considering this,
yeah, there's no classical physics diagram for a black hole. There's no classical physics that allows you to compress atoms. So again, just pretend that somehow classical physics has some diagram for a black hole, where classical physics says it's even possible to bend light, which, again, where's the evidence of it?
Nothing special gravitationally about black holes. What this means
again, he's saying nothing special gravitationally about black holes, except they're the most gravitationally weighty things in the universe. So there's nothing special except the gravity is incredibly strong, which is the argument about what lensing does, that you have to have sufficiently strong gravity to overcome the inverse square law. Ludicrous much? They just keep, well, whatever. There's no point. You can't argue with complete scum liar fuckers.
I assume it's common knowledge that if we could shrink the sun down, right, and compact the sun into a neutron star, and we'd look up in the sky, and rather than seeing our yellow sun, we'd see whatever, a neutron star that looks.
Yeah, right. Well, the sun's producing its own light, so I guess we can't see it unless we reflect something off of it. So we have to assume now that the super compressed matter somehow reflects light. Do we know whether it reflects light? I don't think we do.
Looks like it, huh? But gravitationally, and it would be from, I don't know how wide it is, hundreds of thousands of kilometers or whatever width it is.
Yes, well, it was pointed out in the comment section. It's 1.4 billion meters.
There's tens of thousands of kilometers.
Yeah, see, you've underestimated also. I underestimated the size of the diameter of the sun myself. I had no idea it was 1.4 billion. I was thinking, 32 million.
Neutron stars are about 20 miles or so, 20, 30 miles order of that. So it's a significant compacting when we make a neutron star.
When we make one, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so again, this has what to do with gravitational lensing and whether Einstein believed you could lens with the sun 1 billion miles away from the sun. I could just go 1 billion miles away from the sun and I could just see light get lensed. That's Piro's argument, jackass.
If we did that to the solar mass, we'd look in the sky and we wouldn't see the sun, we'd see the neutron star, and it'd be pulsing rapidly. And
yeah, well, whatever. This whole pulsing rapidly thing we know is probably something else spinning around it, so let's be a little bit logical.
But orbits would not change. Therefore...
Right, not the subject. But you know what? Our orbits would change if we change our distance away from the gravity. So if we move the Earth away from the gravity and keep our same velocity and our same mass, we'll go shoot right the fuck out of the solar system. That's the argument, jackass. And that ratio, that tendency, drops off really quickly. You're only going to be able to find a line of diffraction that's useful very, very close to a gravitational body, even a black hole. The ability of a black hole to lens light, even in their simulations, is quite obviously illustrated to be just a little thread around the black hole. It can't lens the light out here or out here or out. I can't go anywhere I want to and get lensed light. No, it's a surface phenomenon, which I said 7 million times. You have to take whatever body you're saying is making the lens and you have to draw the lens. And when you draw the lens and then add up the matter inside the lens, that'll tell you the strength of the gravity. That's a density argument, jackass. Fuck. I mean, I wish there was a God of truth, and I wish he just motherfucking had big giant boots, and every time one of you fuckers stepped on the truth, he'd get the boot. You're not trying to be accurate. You're not trying to tell the truth. You're contriving crap. Crap excuses for nonsense. Again, I could just show Piero the simulations of the black hole, and then he could explain to me why they aren't showing the cosmos getting all distorted way far away from the black hole. Why isn't that distorting the entire universe's picture? Because it doesn't meet Einstein's rules. That's why. Fuck. And that's the subject of the video you critiqued, asshole. Alright. I really don't want to put videos together. And I really don't want to just play this live because he's not on the right subject. Well, I'm just going to finish this since we started it.
Gravity hasn't been changed as it affects, as I described my interaction with a quantity of mass.
Right, and but you're just ignoring the reverse argument, which is if I make the sun as massive as the Earth, the gravity does change substantially, preposterously, incredibly. Asshole.
It doesn't really matter whether it's in a dense, compact object or an expanded object.
Alright, so it doesn't matter how far away you are. Does that make sense to you people? I make the sun bigger because I'm going to go way out here. So I make the sun bigger, but I use the same mass that's in the sun. I haven't made the gravity smaller? No, of course I have. It's not going to diffract the light.
If we went further and pushed past the Pauli exclusion principle, such that the neutron star, we collapsed it further into...
Yeah, we do these things. I just love that rhetoric. We collapse these. We were doing all this stuff with our little neutron stars. Fuck.
To a black hole mass, then we'd look in the sky and we'd see nothing except, not except, we'd see nothing, but our orbits would continue in the same orbit.
Yes, and nobody's denying that. Quote where I have denied that. Quote where I indicated I don't understand that. Quote it. Find it somewhere where I made the argument that if you made the sun, you kept the same mass to the sun and you reduced it to the size of a pea, how we would fly out of our orbit. Where did I say anything like that? Where in this argument did I say anything like that? Where did I say that the lensing that's possible at the location of the Earth relative to that pea-sized sun would change? I never said that. Did I? No. Did I make that argument? No. What I said was, it makes a difference how far away you are from the mass. And that when you draw your lens, if you're going to say, I'm going to lens at this location, that's the volume you have to count for what your gravity is at that place. You have to take the mass that exists and spread it across that entire volume to understand what the gravity at that location is, jackass. That's how it works, jackass.
Similarly, we could compact the Earth into a black hole, and the Moon would be oblivious to the fact that we'd compacted the...
Yes, same mass. It's a center of gravity. I believe I said center of gravity in the last video. Center of gravity. Yes, so all it matters is the center of gravity, and then the R number is the volume number, jackass.
Earth into a black hole. These basic intuitions are all there in the formula, in Newton's formula for gravity.
And again, who cares? Your accusation is that I somehow made the error instead of pointing out clearly that Piro is the one in error. Asshole!
And as an approximation, you know, Einstein agrees with it, and to the degree it's inaccurate. The only question is about whether it has an event horizon at a point. When it becomes so compact, as you get closer, the gravity indeed gets stronger at its surface because the surface has been set back some. But as regards a fixed distance, density has nothing to do with it. Jubbly, what have you got?
Well, again, so he's saying a fixed distance, it has nothing to do with it except everything to do with it, because if the distance is twice as far away from the mass, the gravity is going to be 4 times weaker.
Stone. Every time. 8 stones. Right. Now, that's in the formula. The formula tells us explicitly, quantitatively, that it's nothing to do with density.
Okay, so there's just really no point, because you don't understand the density argument. So you're going to tell me that the gravity of these objects, if I put them in a dense mass, is that your fundamental argument is that if they're collected in a small container, that this gravity is the same as this gravity. Well, it's not, asshole. So again, I mean, I couldn't make the argument any simpler. Piro's claiming that a weakly configured ball of some suns, flat ones no doubt, okay, one's in just a flat plane, okay, that collection somehow has density sufficient to create gravity around the volume of that entire package sufficient to bend light. That's his argument. Noticeably bend light.
Now you're calling me nitpicking, but look, I've learned from yourself that's the implications of everything going the same speed and being of the same mass. You know, that nothing essentially moves, and this is a problem you've not yet answered. Okay.
Well, again, so you're going to change the subject some more. The subject started here because Piro says it doesn't matter. You can lens light anywhere. He doesn't want to pay attention to the simulation of the black hole where it's a surface phenomenon. He wants to pretend it's not a surface phenomenon. And the surface of a galaxy, okay, when you draw that surface line and you look at what's inside the thing you've drawn a surface around, you'll find out it doesn't have any fucking material density. Its density is less than hydrogen, less than anything. I couldn't make it out of a fucking substance in the known universe light enough to describe how insufficient its density is.
Okay, by the principle of nothing effectively changes because of exchange of directional information, how does anything happen? Anyhow, but that aside, just the other day, I learned, and I'm happy to, when I'm pushing the point in opposition to you about...
Look, I'm not going to tell you how to argue, but your last video, okay, I got halfway through it, and all you were doing is obsessing about somehow I made an error. Now, first off, I'm saying I didn't make an error because I kind of pointed out the inverse square rule, and you could have just gone with that. You could have just kept pointing out, no, well, the inverse square rule says that the further you go out, the less and less effective the gravity is going to be. I mean, it's this distance is not going to compensate. The amount of time you spend in the gravity isn't sufficient to overcome the inverse square rule, which is diminishing your gravitational pull faster than your increased distance is increasing. Your distance in the gravity isn't increasing sufficiently fast enough to keep up with how weak the gravity is getting. You could have just said that and said Piro's full of shit. But you didn't do that. Instead, you played some fucking bullshit game. Gotcha. That's what you did, jackass. So don't tell me you're trying to be fair and you're not trying to do anything. You're just trying to fucking do the same bullshit Piro is, which is you're trying to rationalize a pile of shit. You're trying to justify not mistakes I've made, but that fundamental theoretical physics has made. Anyway, your little fucking icons. You're fucking popes of bullshit who haven't really thought about it for more than 15 minutes, quite obviously. If they could think more than 15 minutes about something other than where's the next badge they're going to get for something. I mean, again, you could just play Feynman clips all day long about him dismissing anybody else's effort to ever find a solution because, shit, he's basically just saying, me and Einstein are really smart, you fuckers don't stand a chance. I mean, the people are they're so fucking full of their own goddamn egos, and it's all crap. They haven't spent any time thinking about this. Because it took an idiot like me who spent a little bit of time thinking about it and saying, fuck that. Fuck this mind-reading photon bullshit. Grow the fuck up. Shit. So anyway, Mr. Natural made some rag about somehow, I'm too loose cannon or something. And it's just such a crock of shit. The other night he went hysterical for a half an hour. And so apparently his friend, the scientist, wouldn't be able to have a conversation with him either. Because, Mr. Natural goes hysterical. Because somebody insults his integrity. Or the fact that he's actually done the work to learn something. And he's not going to take some rag from fucking some moron who hasn't done 5 minutes of work. Well, I've done the fucking work. I've watched the fucking lectures. Yeah, I still can't do all the math. But who the fuck cares? Because you find out their math is all jury-rigged anyway. That they fucking invent Huygens crap. Okay, that isn't even real. They create fake irrational numbers. They create absolute fucking bullshit tricks. They shove the pigeons right up their sleeve and then pretend they didn't do it. But I mean, fuck this shit. You can't figure out that you're insulting? You really can't? You can't, you're telling me when you honestly watched your video, you don't see anything in there insulting? And again, this is in the context of an argument where Piro is absolutely wrong and I'm absolutely right. I mean, fuck you.